Good evening and welcome to the FFS podcast. I am your host, Praddy, once again, and this is episode number 3 of the Dressing Room series, season 1. Um, to those of you who are joining us here for the first time and are wondering what the Dressing Room series is, it's basically a one on one interview with guests of the podcast, former guests of the podcast, returning recurring guests of the podcast, and we talk about everything but football. So we talk about their lives, we talk about their likes, dislikes, we talk everything but football. So the reason I did this is just so that I get to know my guests a little more from a personal point of view. I know all about the clubs that they support. I know all about the players that they like, all of that. But I wanted to get to know about get to know a little bit about my guests a little more, and from a more personal level. And I thought that probably you guys and girls would want to know the same. You'd also want to know about the guests we have on here every week, or even every twice a week, and you probably find out that you may have some more things in common that you thought you may have already. Yeah. So yeah, it could be that you both like the same music, you're both from the same town. There are a lot of things that you might find in common with the guests that we have on here, and yeah, so that's the reason why we're doing this as a podcast, this little chat show that or chat series that we have on the side. So for episode number 3, we have a very special guest on here. He's been on the podcast ever since the early days of FFS, as well as before FFS. If you've listened to our first episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. But before we were For Football's Sake podcast, we were a little smaller thing called The 12th Man. And this guest kind of dates all the way back from there. Right? So we're talking about, all the way before episode 1 of FFS. And his name is Ashfaq. So Ashfaq, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad we could have you on here. How's it going? And before we get to talking about your life and everything in general, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, just as a small introduction for people listening in?
Yeah, so my name is Ashfaq, and I'm currently in Dubai. Studied here, worked here, and
Working, yeah.
working. Studied here, working here. For the last 4 years, I've been working here, and football is one of my main hobbies. I used to play, and I watch a lot. One of my favorite team is Barcelona, and favorite player is Messi. So apart from football, I also watch a lot of shows. I watch a lot of movies. I like to, occasionally I like to even review them or talk about movies.
Spoiler alert. We'll get to that a little while later. But okay, I mean, you've already touched upon a lot of things. So the first question that I normally like to ask my guests, or I want to talk about, is how we met. Now, of course, the first episode I had Prakash on, who you know quite well, and of course we know how it was from school. We know about him, how we met, basically, how I came to know about him. He was my junior, and then of course in the episode number 2, I spoke to Vijay. I don't think you know him, so he's a Bayern fan from Bangalore, and I met him through the podcast itself, right? So I think Junaid knew him and he recommended him to me, and that's how I got to know about Vijay. And you're my third guest, so let's talk about how we first met. And I suppose, of course, it's probably like
I don't think you might remember.
Okay. Oh, all right. Challenge, right?
Because
Great.
first we were in the same bus in school. This was back in 2003 or 4. I think you were in Dera, I guess, somewhere in
Yeah,
Dera.
I was. Yeah.
That time also you were in the same bus. Then I moved to Nahda Gises, and you also came to Nahda Gises. Again, you were in the same bus.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you were. I think
Yeah.
you were in bus number 7 or something. I'm not sure.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you being in my bus when I moved to Nada. I don't remember the Gises part. Really, we
No,
really
Nahda
got back.
only, not Gises.
Okay, fine. So
Only
Nada.
Nahda.
Okay.
First you were in Abu Hail. That was in the same
Yeah.
bus. Then we
No,
moved
but
to
that's what.
Nahda.
So,
Again, I was in the same bus.
but that's what in Abu Hail, you and I were on the same bus.
Yeah, me, you, Naeem,
No way Naeem was in the same.
Rahul,
No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
sure.
no, no way Naeem's in the same. Because Naeem and I, when I met Naeem, he came. He was in
No,
11th,
no,
and I
first,
was in
first,
Nada.
no, no, first we were in the same bus in Nahda. I mean, sorry, in Abu Hail. And then you moved out. And
Yeah,
then I was still there. I was still there. And even Naeem, and then Naeem joined. And then
later.
I moved from there to Nahda. And then I was in your bus.
Okay, it's odd because wait for a second. I'm gonna try and think back. Because 2003, I was definitely in Abu Hail 2003 to I
Yeah.
left in
So,
2007 to Nada,
yeah. Yeah. So
and then I would have
2003 you
came.
left.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. 2003 you left. I
No,
left
seven I
around
left.
2000.
Seven I
7 you
left.
left. And I left around
Oh
2008, I
no,
guess.
sorry, I left in 2009. My bad.
Ah,
I think I left in 2009. Seven,
okay.
no, wait.
The dates are
No, no,
not
no, no, no.
clear.
No, no, no. Seventh. I was in ninth grade. Yeah, that's the
Ah,
way I remember. Yeah, 2007, ninth, or something like that.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
we were in the same bus like for more than one
Okay.
location. So that's how
Interesting.
we were acquainted. And then we started this whole group, and then we used to have banters, fights, fan fights,
A lot
lots
of
of
fights.
lot of
A lot of
fights.
fights.
Yeah, a lot of
Um,
banter, a lot of fights. And then we started this podcast, and ever since anytime you needed, I was there for the
yeah.
podcast. So that's
I
how
mean,
it all.
I you were right to challenge me on when we know each other because I had no clue we went actually that far. So I knew you from school obviously because you were how many grades lower? I mean,
Years,
junior to me. 2 years,
years,
3 years. So
You
you
were
were
Naeem's batch, right?
yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
So
3 years.
you were who all were your classmates,
Gagan,
man?
Gagan.
Gagan was there. Was Burma also in your
Yes.
batch? Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, then three. Okay, right. There's just too many people that I mean, I don't have that much regret. So, to be fair, I mean, it's scary that it's been like 12 years since we left school. But, um, yeah, it. Okay, so that's when I knew you from, and you were in spring, winter,
Summer.
winter,
Me and
summer.
Naeem used to
Oh,
be in summer. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. I was trying to place you, and I couldn't place you in the green jersey. I couldn't place you in the blue jersey. I was like, oh, that can't be right. Okay, summer. Okay, great. Yeah, so that's when I knew you, and of course, then the podcast. Sorry, then the group happened. So when we talk
First, we
about a
had the
group,
Facebook group. First, we had the
yeah.
Facebook group.
So for
That is
those of
where all
you,
the the good stuff happened in Facebook.
yeah. So for those of you who aren't sure of what we're talking about and think it's a little too inside, so let me fill you in a bit. So um, there was this group that was formed for people who enjoyed football and any kind of sports, basically on Facebook, because Facebook at that time was the OP social media platform. At least, and when I say at that time, I'm talking 2010, probably 2010ish to maybe 12, 2010 to 12 or so. So we had a Facebook group, and then slowly, when WhatsApp began taking over, we migrated to WhatsApp and started this sports group, which was mainly concentrated on football, and we kind of limited it to only people who were in the same school. So Ashfaq, Prakash, you've heard many people on this podcast before who were in the same school as I was, and we were all part of that group. And yeah, I think that's where we started engaging a lot more with juniors. Like I engaged with Prakash and my junior batch, but never a lot with you guys and people even one batch junior to Prakash. So yeah, I think that helped. And yeah, that group, oh my god, the number of fights we used to have. Uh, it was
I was
you and
always the
that
center of
Arun. You and Arun. I don't know who Arun was, but like you and he were basically everybody's little pinata. Um, and I just don't know like why. And I suppose at that point of time we used to make fun of the fact that he used to support Barcelona and Chelsea. When to be fair, we all had a second favorite team, right? But you were the only one who made it so public that okay, anytime there was an opportunity to make that joke, we would just go for it. And yeah, I think you've matured to such a stage that you've sort of become more immune to it. But I remember early stages you used to flip out like mental.
Really like that.
Yeah, yeah, there'll be like a switch, like, and I kid you not, the biggest or the day that you pissed me off the most was
The Game of Thrones spoiler.
yes, and I was at work, dude. I was at work, and I was like waiting for that. See, the thing was with that Game of Thrones episode, I knew it was happening, but the fact that it happened and that day, and I'm not going to tell everyone what the spoiler was, but I was sitting in office, and then I saw that uh, picture you messaged, and I was livid. I went into full like anger mode, and we have a Game of Thrones group also separately that I think now you're a part of, or you were
Yeah.
became part of. But oh my god, I just wanted to kick you out of
But
every group.
that time it was like whenever I got triggered, that was like the way I used to poke back. Like I had
Yeah.
nothing else to say, so I used to be like, okay, let's spoil it for everyone like that.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of. I mean, to people listening, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get a lot of hate because nobody likes a spoiler. Yeah, nobody likes
Then
someone
I
who's
understood the feeling of it later. So
yeah.
earlier stages that used to be like the only comeback I had. So if anyone used to like trigger me, I'm like, okay, so you know what, this happened. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll get kicked out. I'll be out of the group for about few weeks, and then
I,
automatically someone adds me.
the reason we added you back is because the group became so dead after that. It's like because everyone was like sane, calm, and then you and Arun would be the only two fighting and bickering, and that used to be like our popcorn for the day, right? Our entertainment. So the moment like he would immediately exit the group, and then we'd have to kick you out. Then we're like, oh shit, now everyone's kind of been no one's there to really poke the bear or poke the stick. So we were we like okay, let's bring Ashfaq back at least, and let's try and stir up some more trouble. I don't know if I could say I deserved it, the spoiler. I mean, I for many things I would say if you've spoiled stuff, I probably deserved it. Like not only with you, but a lot of people. If they've said something, I was like I probably deserved it. But so that was a step too far. Right? I can take anything against my team. Like if you say anything about Liverpool, I'm like okay, fine. But you went a step too far in that. That was crazy. I still remember that moment.
Because I know if I no matter what, like if any football banter comes, no matter what comeback I give, that was not as effective. So I thought, okay, let's just take the final straw or something. Don't take something that's like a stab. So I thought this would be the best thing, and then I posted the spoiler.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about. Oh, okay. So that's how we met, and that's an insane story because I had no idea. I barely remember like I probably remember 11th and 12th a little more, but before that, it's just all a blur. And you're talking about like 2000.
I think even Rahul was also in the same bus as us. I think I'm not sure.
Possibly
At some point.
At some point, maybe. The thing is, when I moved to Nada, after a few years, I began coming by. My dad or my mom used to drop
Yeah, you
us
used to walk to
because
school.
no, I mean walking in this heat sometimes is be insane.
No, I
but
mean in the winter we used to walk together sometimes.
yeah. So Burma, me, my sister, everyone we used to walk together. Yeah, and that was just because it was just across the road. Now it's even more convenient, but back then it was yeah. All right, so let's talk about now. You've obviously mentioned hobbies other than football. So before we get to like the movies and the TV shows, what are the types? Like, do you support any other sport or team in any other sport? Do you watch any other sport?
Not really. Like I tried to get into cricket, but it's just
After
it's too
football,
long.
yeah. After
Yeah,
football, cricket becomes like a marathon, basically.
yeah. So like the reason that actually I have a little bit of history, like as to why I started following football, because
Hmm.
my dad is like a proper sorry.
I think let's just keep the football thing aside. I
Mhm.
just want this
No,
to
no,
be.
that's what
But
like
okay,
like
fair enough. Yeah,
apart
okay,
apart.
go on.
Like
Yeah,
so, thing is my dad used to be like a proper cricket supporter. Like this cricket is the only sport he's always followed. So I tried to, since I had no access to anything else, so I sort of inherited that interest, and I tried to follow some cricket, but it wasn't me. So when I came to Dubai, everything changed. I started watching football, and then it's only been football since.
Yeah.
So that is a short history of how I
I
started
think
following football.
I think for all of us, cricket was like the
Most of us,
first
yeah,
sport. Yeah, because
yeah,
Asian parents and we've only been watching that
yeah,
since
yeah,
childhood. But
exactly.
then, yeah, once football hit, even for me, like cricket became sort of. I'd watch the big events maybe, but like T20, maybe IPL or something. But
Yeah, but
I
I
just
don't.
can't.
It doesn't interest me as much. So like football is the main sport, and then later I tried like occasionally like say IPL or some big final or something. I watch. I just to give company to my dad. I just sit and watch with him. That's it. Otherwise, I don't really follow any sport as much as football.
Okay,
So I mean,
fair enough.
recently F1 is picking up interest like
Yeah,
everywhere.
the
I'm just
group as
slowly
well.
getting into it. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think the same thing. Like on um, F F1, like it's just picking up even on the group. Like we've had some conversations, obviously, in the group. Like if you followed it, but otherwise, yeah, slowly picking up. You should probably try and join in. I feel like now F1's becoming the new formula, the new football for me at times.
Yeah, everyone's literally following it. So
Hmm.
so I'm slowly getting into it. And just like if someone's watching, I just sit with them. I ask them, what's this, what's that, like that.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
brother
the
watches a lot
same.
of that.
Yeah, the same thing. Like Naeem as well. Like when he joined F1, he kept like asking me like, "What is this? What's happening?" And then he became interested. And then we got the PS5, the PlayStation Formula One game. It's
Yeah,
it's so good. Like both of us play
people play
at.
it more than FIFA nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. I've stopped playing FIFA to be fair. So I like F1 has become like we start this career where he and I are like rivals in opposing Formula One teams, and it's crazy fun. So you learn a lot more from that as well. And
Yeah,
it's just now become quite like we need to play on every weekend. So, you're also a huge like uh, gamer as well, right? We used to play FIFA
yeah,
against each other for
yeah.
at times, but do you still play right now?
No, no, no. I sold my PS4.
Are you getting a
Yeah,
PS5?
no. I sold my PS5. Kind of got scammed, so I'm waiting to save up more money. Yeah.
Okay.
Since I want to
let's
save,
let's
I thought I, yeah, so I thought like I'll sell it in India because I'll get more money there. Because generally, like electronics, we get like more money over there. But then what happened is I sold it to this place. I don't want to name it. So
yeah,
I sold it to this place where
in
they,
India.
yeah, in India, they don't just
Okay,
take the console. They actually do some checks on it.
okay,
So they told me that your CD drive is not working properly. It's like it's not taking the disk properly
this
inside.
okay.
And I used to occasionally remove the PS and clean it, because I used to play
Ah,
pod and stuff, and we used to have
yeah.
the fan noise used to be a lot, so I used to clean it. So that also became a problem. So what was once profitable became sort of a loss. I mean, profitable as in for the market value, it was sort of profitable. It became a loss. Like I got like
Uh,
uh, in India money, I got almost around 6K deduction.
okay.
So
Wow.
I sold it for like a very meager amount. So I'm not looking to get back into a PS5 right now.
You should just
But
sold it. Here. Actually, the market's quite decent to sell.
yeah, here I saw the price over here, and what was being offered on this website was higher. So I fell for it. And apparently on their TNCs they had something mentioned that there will be
Wait,
reductions
wait,
and stuff,
wait.
but nobody
No, no,
reads
no.
the TNC.
You meant you to buy. You meant
Sorry?
to buy the PS5. You meant you
No,
tried
no,
to
no,
buy
no, no.
here.
I'm saying for selling the PS4.
Oh, ah,
I tried to sell it over here. They quoted me a good price, but in India the price was higher when I checked.
okay, okay,
So to sell it. So when I went to India and tried to sell it, some issues happened and I got scammed in the end. And
okay.
I sold it for literally half the price I was offered over here.
To be fair, okay. So I saw a few months ago. Just sold my PS3 here. PS3 Slim. Uh, the console and a broken controller, which I put up in the advertisement. I wrote that the controller is
The control
broken,
was
and
broken.
yeah, and I don't
Uh,
have the charger or anything. somebody actually bought it for what I would say decent money for just the console. So that's just like no uh, games, nothing, just the console, and it was decent money. Which that's why I thought like you, even if it is I think it's a lot more safer, or you get to know someone more. But anyway, fair enough. If you're getting more money, I would have done probably the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what does Ashfaq do, or what do you do on a normal day post work? Like what? How do you relax? How do you chill? Movies, TV shows, music. What are you into?
Usually it used to be gaming. Like I used to come back from work and I used to watch FIFA. Sorry, I mean I used to play FIFA or I used to play COD.
Okay.
Or when there are games, I used to watch games. Then after I sold my PS4, now it's mostly just TV shows. Whatever is trending, whatever interests me. I don't have a particular favorite genre as such.
Mm-hmm.
If something is, if everyone's watching something, if there's some TV show that's in the mainstream, I try to see what's the hype about it. If I like it, I continue. Otherwise, I just watch 1 or 2 episodes and then drop it off. So that's the usual uh, my usual leisure after work.
Okay. First question: movies or TV shows? Choose between the two.
I prefer TV shows because
Okay.
I'm not a person who can sit and binge like too many you know videos at once. Like it's no, I mean too many videos as in I can't sit and watch something continuously. I have to like pause in between and take breaks.
And for that, a TV show is
So
better.
yeah, and the second thing is that TV shows have this suspense element. Every episode has this cliffhanger that gets you hooked on.
Yeah.
It gets you moving to watch the next episode, and then you don't realize how you've been spending
Yeah.
like hours and hours just watching episode after episode. In the movies don't have that. Movies I prefer watching in theater, and very very few movies I watch at home. Most of the time, I'm only watching TV shows.
Okay. So that was going to be my second question. So if movies in the theater or at home?
Mostly in the theater.
Theater. So you're still a theater guy. Like you, it's not like
Yeah.
like now that COVID happened or anything. You just prefer watching at home. Just prefer going to
No,
the theater.
and even if I'm a theater guy, I'm very selective in what I watch in the theater. Like if I'm paying money for something, it has to be worth it.
Fair
It has
enough.
to give me a good experience. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
but
You're
it's
like
not
me.
like I'll just watch any. Yeah, it's not like I'll watch any random movie that comes in the theater just for the
Okay.
theater experience.
Okay. Fine. You're like me then. If I'm going to the theater, I want it to be a good enough movie for me to pay that much. Else,
Yeah,
I'll watch it at home or once it comes onto Netflix. So that's all.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, top 5 TV shows of all time for you. Your
Top
top
five
5.
TV shows. I would definitely say Game of Thrones. That's like one thing that
Despite the
got.
ending.
Despite the ending, yeah. Despite the ending, I would say because I know I'm going to get a lot of stick for this, but I didn't watch Friends. I haven't watched.
That's all right.
Uh,
I watched it
I
quite
haven't
late
watched.
also.
Yeah, I haven't watched Friends. I haven't watched Big Bang Theory. I haven't watched.
Okay.
What's that? Breaking Bad.
Okay. Okay.
I haven't watched Walking Dead. Like many
That's all
of these
right.
cult popular TV shows, I
Yeah.
haven't watched. I have a very
Okay.
weird taste.
So
So
Game of
my top
Thrones.
five.
Game of Thrones.
So my top five would be Game of Thrones first, and then second is How I Met Your Mother because
Really? Again, despite
yeah
the ending. How are
yeah
you?
again like it was something that hooked me on for a long time. So I would keep it in
Yeah,
my top five. Like
it hooked me on as well, but I was more desperate to find out who the damn mother was, and then when it came, what happened in the last season really pissed me off. Um,
yeah, so like
your
except
videos,
the ending, like
yeah.
it was like one of the only shows in the comedy genre that actually ended up watching a lot.
Okay,
So How I Met Your Mother would be another one,
okay,
and then I would say, let's say, wait, let me just check because I can't just recall. I used to watch Vampire Diaries a lot. Even that would be in my top five.
okay, okay.
Vampire
I can
Diaries.
see when you say that you're not like after any genre or you don't follow any genre. I can
Yeah,
see that.
it's random. It's like
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
random. I just Vampire Diaries was good,
Okay,
and then yeah. 1 minute. How I Met Your Mother I've covered. Game of Thrones I've covered. Vampire Diaries I've covered. Money Heist. Money
Okay.
Heist was something I binged, but I loved the ending. Like it was one of the shows that was that actually lived up to the hype and at the same time had a good ending as well. Like it was a satisfying ending. I wouldn't say it,
Okay.
it's messed up like the others. So that is one.
Oh, yeah. Your
Then,
video's gone.
sorry,
Your videos. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
it's working. Yeah. So that was one. So how many have I covered?
Four
Four.
are done. Yeah. One
Then
left.
Stranger Things.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. All right. One that I can relate to. See, honestly, video keeps popping up and down. All right.
Sorry.
Your video keeps popping out up and down. Like,
Ah,
I think. So Game of Thrones, if it wasn't for the way it ended, for me would have been the best show in TV history of all time.
yeah,
Just
exactly.
the epic scale and the vision and the story wise, I think had they not messed up that ending, it would have been my number one hands down. But yeah, okay, I can see. All right, I can see your top five. Interesting. It's interesting. I wouldn't necessarily agree. I would definitely not agree with number two, which is How I Met Your Mother. And but okay, all right, fair enough. I think that's.
Actually, I used to watch Gotham also, but
Oh
again,
no,
towards the end, it got
yeah.
really
Towards
boring.
the end, I mean, I just
Yeah.
stopped after
The
season two or something.
last 2 or 3 seasons, it was just draggy. Like there's so many shows in DC which I wished was better, but
Yeah,
everything just they
yeah.
start off really well, really interesting. Like say
Oh,
Flash also I used to watch a
Flash
lot.
season one and two
Flash,
was insane.
yeah. After
And
that it's
then
just
yeah,
Flash, Arrow, DC Legends. I even watched Supergirl, bro. Like Supergirl, I watched Black. What is that? What is that? Black Lightning.
Black Lightning. Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah.
I watched all of it. Like, there's, once I start a show, it's very difficult for me to stop.
It is. Yeah.
It gets to it gets to a point where it has to be unbearable. Only then I would stop. So,
Okay,
you
we're
can
similar.
imagine like
Yeah.
these things, like even Supernatural to a point. Supernatural also. How many seasons did it have? Like 18 seasons or
Like
something?
you're saying that I watched 3 seasons of Riverdale before I thought it was too much. Okay, I mean the first itself should have given me some sort of hint as to how bad the next few are going to be. I watched 3 seasons of it properly before I said it's not good for me. Let's just. And I watch. The thing is, what I do is I watch shows that I really like and that I follow, and then like shows that I'm keen on, but not so like any of the Marvel ones, right? Right now, there are so many Marvel shows, but I just don't care about 3/4 of them.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just FOMO basically. Most
it's
of the
just
things I just
cool.
watch for FOMO.
Yeah, so the former, what I do is I watch I go on YouTube and there's these reactors that I follow, and I watch them reacting to it, and they sort of show pieces of the show or the episode, right? So when you're doing on YouTube, you show clips of it, and I just kind of watch those
Your
clips, and I
voice
understand.
just went off.
Hello,
I can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
No, I think this is the issue with Zoom. Even in earlier another meeting, same thing happened.
Okay,
Ah,
just
okay, now
gonna
I can hear
pause.
you.
Okay, all right, okay. Now, of course, all right. So those were your top five TV shows, and
It's I won't say top five. It's just top five in any random order. I wouldn't rank it exactly
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because,
Your five favorite TV shows. Let's just say that.
and I would actually along with Vampire Diaries, even I think Originals was also great. So that was also like
I
one thing I
haven't
used to
watched
watch
that.
for a long time. I watched like till the end. Like those two shows I watched till the end because I started it, I had to finish it off. So
Yeah, I think unlike I mean, for me, I do kind of follow a particular genre. I prefer my favorites are crime thriller, detective
yeah,
mystery
same.
ones.
So now
Those
I'm
are
just like I'm not watching any random stuff. I'm just watching something which interests me. Like like I'm following a particular genre right now. So one is like I follow some mainstream shows, and one I
mhm.
try to follow a particular genre. So I tried. following up on Marvel and DC stuff,
Mhm.
but not everything is like interesting that gets you hooked on. So I'm trying to follow into thriller shows. So I started watching You.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I was like, if you were watching Vampire Diaries and all those shows, you'll definitely have to watch you. And
I watch You. Yeah, so I'm up to date with it. It's so dark. It's so disturbing, but
it is
I can't
disturbing,
stop
but it's
watching it.
hilarious. It's
But I can't stop
hilariously,
watching.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's
like the.
hilariously dumb, but disturbing. And
But at the
but
same
it
time, you
is,
can't stop watching it.
you can't stop. It just gets you hooked because you're like, oh no, what else? What is the next stupidest thing he's gonna
Yeah,
do?
it's
You're
that.
like,
So
yeah,
like, thing is, at that time, this sex education was like famous at that time.
oh
It
yeah,
was
that's a
famous.
good show. That's a
But
good.
so I wasn't gonna watch it, but I was so disturbed after watching You. Like I needed something to like take my head off,
Yeah.
something on a lighter tone. So it was sort of a lighter tone. It was mostly like a
Oh
teen
yeah,
flick.
yeah,
Sex
yeah.
Education was like a proper teen flick. So I don't usually watch it, but
I
You
really
literally
like it.
stood my head so much,
Yeah.
so I had to watch it. I had to watch something that would take my head off all this dark stuff.
So apart from the TV show and movie watching and all of that, how what's your social life like with work? Like, is there enough time for you to socialize with friends and go
Yeah,
out on a
occasionally
regular
I
basis?
do go out. We do go out, and we catch a couple of movies, or we just play a game of pool, or we just, or the old school karak chai meetups. So that's all. So other than that, not much of social life. As in, I don't go on trips, or I mean, with family I do go on trips, like long trips and stuff. But with friends, barely any major uh,
Road trip.
socializing.
Okay,
I keep like a small circle, and we meet
fair
up
enough.
every now and then. That's it.
That's good enough. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, I don't have a large circle as such. So small
Yeah, that's what.
circles meet often. Fair enough. And yeah, road trips anyway are difficult to plan out unless you really have
Yeah.
something to do. But
So I
yeah,
see people going on fancy trips on Instagram and everything. So I wonder how do they actually plan all this? This doesn't really work for us. Every time we plan something, but it doesn't
it
materialize.
doesn't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are a few times where we've done road trips to like Jess or Abu Dhabi. So the thing was, when Formula One was here in Abu Dhabi last year, Aaron and I went to Abu Dhabi to go try and see if we could meet them. Ended up being like a waste of 4 hours because we ended up going there, then realizing that we needed a green pass, and none of us had like a PCR test, so we weren't allowed anywhere, and that entire Yas Marina was like blocked. So I drove both of us. So we drove there, then we came back, and like within 4 hours we were back, and like, okay, great, brilliant road trip. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, it really depends, man. I think you need the right weather. So now we're getting to that weather where the road trips become more pleasurable,
Yeah,
because sitting in 40 degrees heat in the car, even the car, if the car has AC, it's mind boggling. And the fact is, to be fair, Dubai has everything, right? You're only going out if you want to escape the city. And like, there are things which you can do, which again you cost money, which cost money. Now you have to
that's the
then
thing.
plan.
Everything is money over here. Yeah,
Yeah, so you have to, people who do that either earn well and then have saved enough to do all of that stuff, or
or people
they
just don't
earn
care.
well enough that even if they spend normally, they have enough time to go and do this. So uh, majority of us kind of have to figure out, okay, let's go. You want to go out and eat food, then that's going to cost you. In a good proper restaurant you want to go eat, then that's going to cost you. But then if you're going to road trip, then you obviously have to cut
The,
down
the,
on your
the good,
food budget.
yeah.
And
The good thing
just
about the city is that I think here we have like plenty of options. Like
yeah,
no matter what interest you have, in every budget we have something or the other to do. Like there's
like
there's always something to do over here.
a few couple of years ago, my friends and I, we went and played golf. Now we've never played golf in our life, but golf was actually like, it was pretty cheap to get
Top golf.
for, no, not any top, not top golf, normal golf. We actually, I
Uh-huh.
have, like, my dad has a golf kit here, right? So one golf kit, and we share the clubs, obviously. Four of us, each one was, I think, around 50, $60, and you could play as long as you wanted in creek. I mean, that's insane. And we just found like, great, if the weather's great, we should just go and do that. Top golf is another one, another great one. Then you have roller. Then you've got indoor sports cricket. We used to play before Ramadan. We used to play every weekend. We used to go play indoor cricket as well. So yeah, we
We
used
used
to
to play a lot of we used to play a lot of football as well. That's
football.
top
Yeah, we
of
used
the
to
list.
play. Yeah. That's also the thing is you need that group as well. Like people form groups of their own, and then for them to decide, it's a little difficult. So
Oh, were you there for our you know football? We used to come and play also, right? Football.
I used to come and play.
Do
Yeah.
you remember? Do you remember those fights between Mayur and Naeem's cousins and all?
Oh yeah. I remember those are, oh yeah, those are long time ago, and I don't think so. At that point, I wasn't staying in Dubai, so I used to come from
Yeah,
India here on
yeah,
visit. So
yeah,
at that point, I used to play, but I do remember all those, and yeah, those are fun though. But again, I mean, those groups kind of just disband because everyone goes to different countries and you can only
yeah.
meet. But yeah, those were fun. Cricket again, we had a group again, and now since Ramadan's been difficult, I've been traveling, everyone else has been traveling, so need to start again. There's this huge Danube indoor sports arena that's opening up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Big Road. So it's going to be interesting to see that. So yeah. So that's what you do. So like in socializing, it's just the general chat and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess that's fair enough here. Okay. Great. So now I suppose we come to the last sort of segment of this interview. So first of all, congratulations. I heard that you are finally going to be a married man.
Yep.
So how's it been? When was it announced, and how's it been since then?
Actually, I got engaged in March, but I kept it a bit
Okay.
low key. So I thought I'll just let people know slowly. So I got engaged in March and getting married end of this year, December.
Nice. Are you going
Yeah.
in Chennai? Here? Where are
In
you?
Chennai, Chennai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Great. So March, and did you always have the date for December, or
No,
was
no,
it
no.
due to
Everything
COVID that
was
things got
no. Actually, the talks started around Jan,
okay?
and then we decided to get. I mean, their side they asked to get engaged in March,
Mm-hmm.
and then dates for marriage. Actually, it was coincidentally my cousin was also getting married in December, so they wanted to just combine it because we have relatives coming from other countries as well, so they would just attend everything at one shot.
Fair enough.
So along with my marriage, there are like couple of it's like a multiverse right now. December is like a multiverse of marriages. So
Yeah. December is marriage month. Like that
yeah,
is
so a lot of marriages are happening.
madness. Yeah.
Yeah, so everything was happening at that time, so we decided to keep it in December itself.
Okay. So a couple of questions. Obviously, I have to follow up on this. So the first one is, what made you decide now is the time?
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's go on one at a
Okay,
time.
one
So
by one. Yeah.
yeah, one
So
by one.
actually, my sister got married last year. So obviously, my
Yeah.
shield. She was like my shield. So until she was settled off, they wouldn't come to me. And
Okay.
once the shield was down, I know that I was next. So I told them,
But
see,
you didn't take too long.
yeah,
That's
yeah, that's what. So I told them, see, I don't mind you looking, but I need time. So they were like, okay,
okay.
we'll look, you decide. So I didn't want to like reject anyone like straight off. So I wanted to like, no matter whom they brought to me, I wanted to like talk and then decide. So
Fair
then,
enough.
yeah, so I wouldn't say I was ready. Even now, I don't know if I'm ready. It's just that
Okay.
when you found the right person, so you can just figure out the other things. So that was the idea behind it. So they uh, they brought a few girls, and I mean the first two didn't work out, and then this one came. We talked,
This
and we
one.
were okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked and we sort of clicked. So generally people have long conversations. Ours was just
Yeah.
like a 45 minute. It was just one conversation. That's it.
Okay. Now, I
In
don't
one,
know whether that's a good thing or it's a bad thing.
no, it's good. Like, generally, if you're not sure, you take a long time to decide. But when I spoke to her, it was all fine. I discussed, like, since I had already spoken to like two other alliances which they had brought, which my parents had brought. I had an idea as to what to talk and like the important stuff. So we spoke, and she was already okay. It was up to me now. So I spoke to her. We spoke all the important stuff, and I was okay. So we were like, okay, fine.
Okay. Do you have a lot of common stuff that you
Sorry.
do you have a lot of lot in common stuff that you like hobbies, blah blah, watching shows, all of that stuff?
Actually speaking, we barely have anything in common. It's like
Okay.
she's more like my sister than me. But we do have some things in common. Like, for example, she takes a lot of time for shopping. I mean, even for a lady, she takes a lot of time for shopping. Like, if she has to buy something, a cloth, I mean, if an outfit or something, even me, for example, we go to a mall, we go to a shop, and say we found something we like, but we won't buy it.
Okay.
We will like scout through every single shop in the mall, and then finally we'll
Mm-hmm.
select it. So if I'm like that, she's in Chennai, so traveling there is hectic. Like, compared to Dubai, traveling there is hectic. So she would go to every single shop until she finds the right one, and it ends up being the one which she first saw and like.
So yeah,
So that was
that
something we
sort
could
of
relate.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
was something we could.
Okay.
That was one of the things we could relate to, and we have like few other things in common. But most of the time, it's just complementary. Like, if I'm like a complete non-veg person, she prefers more of veg. It's like that. So we don't have
Okay.
much in common.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more of a
Okay.
complementing personality. I wouldn't say we're like complete opposites, but at the same time, we're not too alike. We're not too similar either. So if I'm like a loud person, she's like a very soft person. If I'm very talkative, she's very,
Yeah.
she would talk, but she wouldn't talk like how I'm talking right now. I mean, I'm just going on and on. She wouldn't go like that. She's very soft. So she would ask permission for everything. So we're like
Okay.
complementing each other. That's all.
Okay. I suppose yin to your yang is yang
Yeah,
is yang is really it's required as well. I
yeah.
mean, having too much in common also is like too much
That,
yin
that that's one thing.
clashes.
That's one thing even I wanted. Like, I didn't want someone who was too similar to me. Because dealing with one of me is itself is like
Yeah.
it's
I
difficult.
know.
I mean, you would know.
I know exactly how it feels
So,
like.
so
Yeah.
dealing with one of me itself is difficult. So having someone who's too similar to me, like you said, it would just lead to clashes because how I am. Like, I just
Yeah.
flip like very easily. So I didn't want someone who's too similar to me. I wanted someone who's patient enough to deal with deal with me. So, and I got exactly what I wanted. So since I'm getting exactly what I wanted, I didn't have a reason to say no. That's the thing. Like, if I had a
All
reason, I
right.
would have.
But okay. So you said that. So the whole thing came about because obviously your sister's now done and dusted in a way, and so you were the next target for your
Yeah.
parents. So was there any conversation that said like as soon as possible, or were you kind of? I've had friends who like tried to delay it as much as possible.
I tried.
Were you like, okay, I mean, I'm just do
I
whatever,
didn't say,
and
yeah.
when as soon.
I just said, like the conversation I had with my parents was that, see, I'm not stopping you from looking because I'm very choosy. Like,
Yeah,
I would take time to actually decide on something.
we just had that
Sometimes I take too long.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought if I delayed too much, I would, it would be by the time I choose and come to the right person, it will get even more delayed. So I had that sort of a thought. So I said, okay, you look. I don't have a problem by looking. But if say you find someone, don't like pressurize me to give my answer
Yeah.
immediately. I need my time.
Okay.
I
Fine.
need to talk to the person. I need to understand like if this will work out or not. Only then I would say yes. It might happen in a day itself. It might happen in a month. I don't know. I can't say anything. Like, it depends on the person. So they were okay with it, uh, and everything worked exactly as we planned. So I mean, it was happy.
Fair enough. I think the first time I realized you were getting married was not the you put up a post recently, not that, but I think on Twitter or something you replied to someone saying fiance, and I was like, oh, okay. He kept that very quiet. And I'm like, oh, should I approach him now? And then, of course, when you put that post up, I was like, okay, this is confirmed. Like, okay, I'm not going to say much. And yeah, so since then, I've wanted to have you on the podcast earlier than for this very reason to talk about it. All right, so with so that's all. The last follow up question that I have is: so now you're 2 months away from D-Day. How preparations going? Everything sorted out in terms of
Almost,
the
yeah. I didn't want to have any last minute, hiccups or anything. So, like, I had 2 trips to India. So,
Hmm.
in that time itself, I sort of finalized everything, like my outfits, the photographers, uh, everything is almost 100% done. Like the caterers, everything, all the planning is done. So, only final touch ups are required now. That that would that would be, easily happen in by the time we go there. So, the preparations are almost 100% done. Now only the invitations are pending, which we are slowly giving out.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I thought invitations would be earlier than, but I'm not surprised. I think the same. Like I said, with other friends as well. There was a friend who, I don't know. So you know Fahad.
Yeah.
So he got married in May. So I went for his wedding. I still haven't received the invitation yet. I
No, I
went for
mean
his wedding.
for friends, I gave like personal
Yeah.
invitation. Like I told them in
Yeah.
person, and then I sent them a video card also.
Yeah. That I didn't get.
Uh,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
I was told this is my wedding and you're coming. I was like, okay, fair enough. Where are the invitations? The invitations are in Dubai, but with somebody, and I don't know who it has it. It's not with me.
like
Um,
invitation cards, like we have invitation cards as well, but that we're only leaving it for the latest because they have this sort of a
yeah,
we are both Indians, so we know the culture over there. If you're not invited, they won't come. You
yeah,
have
yeah.
to
I
go
got
to
it.
them, give the physical invitation, only then they would come. This is sort
Yeah,
of
that's
the
what.
culture.
So his was in May first week or something, and till April mid April, I was asking him like, "What is the plan?" He's like, "No, no, I'll get to India and then I'll tell you." It's like, no, that doesn't work. I need to book tickets, you idiot. He's like, "No, I give you. This is roughly the dates
No,
for it."
no,
I was like,
I
"Are you
I didn't give them any
insane?"
last minute shots. I wanted to,
Yeah.
have, make them prepared. So I gave them the location, the details, everything, like around a month back itself. So I told them,
Okay.
ticket prices are rising. So if you want to book, if you're coming, if you want to come, you can book now itself. And they're like, okay.
Okay.
I
Fair
don't
enough.
want to have any last minute hiccups for myself or the people coming. So I wanted to be, well prepared for everything.
Okay. Now obviously the last question is how ready are you to become Mr. and Mrs.
I don't know, bro. Honestly, like I have everything planned till marriage. Like
Yeah.
till my marriage, okay, okay, like this, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be like that. So after that, everything is blank. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring her here. Like
Are you
since
excited? Yeah, of
I am
course.
excited. Of course, I'm excited. It's a lot of responsibility because first of all, I'm the eldest son in my household. I'm the eldest grandson for my maternal side. I'm the eldest son-in-law for both her sides. So
Okay.
it's a lot of responsibility. It's like I have to be an example for her. I don't like that. Like I don't
Yeah,
like
I
being an
know.
example. I sort
You
of
being
try
an
to forge my own
example.
path. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
forging my own path. I don't like anyone following my path. Like I'm usually either a follower or I forge my own path. I don't like anyone following
Yeah.
me. So it's a lot of responsibility, a lot of uh, I wouldn't say pressure. I like this pressure is fine, but still there is a lot of pressure. But I'm happy because everything is going to happen to the right person. It's not like I'm forced into it. Or generally, if you see arranged marriages in our side of the country,
Yeah.
like most of the time, it's just people just say yes out of no choice. But
Exactly. Yeah.
I was happily saying yes. So just I'm happy that I found the right person. So it's not like I'm
And
saying I'm
like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's all proper, and I mean, makes sense completely.
yeah.
So what does she do, and is she going to be moving here as
Yeah,
well?
she's going to be moving here. She did interior design. and
Okay.
right now she's doing some hamper business, like IGP, right?
Okay. Yeah.
The website IGP, right? So something similar to that. So she makes custom hampers. So people send her stuff, get it
Okay.
wrapped,
Okay.
and she'll deliver back to them. Like she has shipped all the way to Dubai also, even to US. So
Nice.
she's got a nice small business running. So hopefully once she comes here, I'll set it up over here also. So at least she has some source of income of her own. I wanted
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely. And yes, so excited and nervous with the. I mean, I know you said it's a blank slate post marriage, right? So it's definitely
Yeah,
getting into the unknown. It's like staring into complete
yeah.
darkness. So you don't know what is happening. That I know you got the responsibility side as well of it. So excited about it, and slightly nervous,
Both. It's a mixed
mix
thing
both.
because
Yeah.
excited,
Okay.
excited
It's
because
it's good to
I'm going
have
to be
both.
with the right person. Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
a bit of both. Like on one side, I'm nervous about the responsibilities and all the pressure that's going to come in because you know how Jaggle Brown families are. First, the moment you're born, they're going to ask you which school you're going to join, and then the moment you join school, they'll ask you science or commerce. The moment you
Yeah.
take one of that, then they'll ask you which college, what's your mark, blah 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 blah. Once you go into college, next thing is where you're going to work. Once you start working, it's when you're getting married. Once you get married, when you're going to get kids. So that societal pressure is there, but once you're into the adulthood, the pressure becomes more because previously when you were a kid, all the pressure was on your parents. Once you enter into adulthood, all the pressure is going to come on you only.
Yeah.
So you're going to face everything head on. So that pressure is going to be even more after marriage. You're going to be because you're going to have your own family. So you're going to be the front end facing all the pressure. So yeah, we were, having mixed feelings about it. Nervous on one side, excited
Excited.
also on the other side. Whatever challenge are going to come.
Yeah. So I guess the most important question is where the hell is my invitation? Just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm like setting it out slowly, so I don't want to
Yeah.
surprise everyone at once, and everyone will forget about it. So I want to like slowly slide it in.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. I guess that is as good a time to call it a day. Thank you, Ashfaq, for coming on here and
All,
being our
all,
third guest on
and
this
thank you for
series.
calling me for this podcast.
Yeah, it was a pleasure having you on here. Of course, it was a lot of fun this
And
episode,
banter.
because we've known each other for so many years, and yeah, it was a pleasure having you on here, talking everything apart from football, like not talking about Barcelona or Chelsea or this player and this coach. I mean, it was just nice to get to know a little bit
More
more
about
about your life and how you are doing right now. And I suppose also to those listening and watching, they get to know a little bit about you. And of course, like probably their perceptions have changed as well from you being a Barcelona Messi suck up to being someone who they can actually relate to. And that's the whole point of this. So maybe they do have more in common with you than they care to admit or they knew about. So,
Yeah, actually, I forgot to mention two more TV shows. I
Mhm.
watched Lucifer as well.
Okay.
I
I've heard
watched
it's good.
Lucifer
I've
as well,
seen a few. It's quite nice.
and Squid Game.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Like I said,
Yeah.
like you can understand, like my genre is like
Yeah.
just everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Fair
yeah,
enough. All right, great. Yeah, I'm sure we can catch up again, and probably a year or two down the line, we probably changed it again. So we'll definitely try and catch up again soon. But
sure.
apart from that, we'd definitely love to have you on our mainstream podcast, talking about football and the clubs that you like and love. So hopefully we can do that in the near future. But
Sure,
until
sure.
then, thank you for being a part of this podcast again. It was a pleasure having you. Been a guest all the way from 12th man, trying to get through 12th man, and now as FFS, having you here for so many years. So thank you for all of that.
Anytime, anytime. You're welcome.
All right. So thank you for those of you who are listening and watching us on YouTube or any of the podcast platforms that you are listening to us on. If you do like the content, or if you like the other shows that we're doing, please do hit the like button, hit the comment, hit the subscribe button. Comment down below if you have anything that you relate to with Ashfaq, or if you had different TV shows that you like. Please do let us know. We'd love to interact with you. We'd love to have you on our other mainstream podcasts, and then eventually have you on this series as well. And if you're listening to this on the podcast platform, go check it out. Go follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Even if you're watching this on YouTube, go follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and any other podcast platforms that you listen to. We're there for audio versions as well. So do check us out and do let us know if you want to be a part of the podcast. That's it for episode number 3 of season 1 of the Dressing Room series. I'm your host, Brady, once again. You have a good night and see you.